What's going on, everyone? So this is Evolution. My name is Brandon Fogel. Are you being called to step out of the boat in faith in your life? Are there things in your life that are tugging at your heartstrings, that are pulling you in some way that you know you should be doing? You should be stepping out and doing something unheard of, doing something that only you could do, and God is calling you to. Whatever that is, do you feel that? Today, we're going to talk about that and stepping out in faith and stepping out onto the waters. And that's what it really is. It's all about stepping out onto the waters. So before I go any further, I wanted to mention that this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. I don't know if you're familiar with HelloFresh, but you should check it out. You can click on the link on my video if you want to support the page, or if you just want to kind of get a really good deal. And it's just a little bit of detail about them. HelloFresh has more options to support your wellness journey than ever before. Dig into their biggest menu yet, with 50 plus dinner options and even more market items that suit any healthy lifestyle. Plus, start your day right this school year with free breakfast for life. Get one free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active, which is pretty crazy. So if you click that, you can actually get free breakfast for life on that deal, as long as you have the subscription. Today we are getting into. So I don't know if you all are seeing. Is your world kind of crazy right now? Is your world up and down? Do you is your day uncertain each day to the next? I mean, if you looked at the stock market, if you based your piece on the stock market, you might feel a little uneasy at times, and I know a lot of people do. Do you base your whatever your day, how your day at work's going to go? What you maybe the stress and anxiety of life is what's controlling your mind, is what's giving you peace or not? You know, for everybody it's different. For everybody it's different. I know for me, whenever I actually sit back and reflect, sometimes I have to think about why is my heart so just not at peace? Do you ever wake up with a heart full of anxiety? You get out of bed, the first thing you open your eyes and you feel anxiety. Maybe something that was weighing on your mind the day before, like that's the first thing you think of when you wake up, and you don't have any peace. And because I think peace has to be the foundation before really joy can come into the picture. You know, it's hard to have joy in what you're going through if you don't have peace. And sometimes these are things that are outside forces that are just thrust upon us. We can't control what the market's going to do. You know, the market's going to go down, the market's going to go up. You know, political upheaval is going to happen all the time. Whoever you want to be maybe in power might not be in power right now. Whoever might be kind of your boss right now might not be who you want to be your boss. You know, it's different for everyone. And there are things that we obviously can't control. You know, I think of there are things that only like a God has a hand on. You know, like you think of a major storm, they call it an act of God. You know, like, and that's the only thing that can describe it. You know, and like on insurance, you know, it's an act of God. You know, I think everybody realizes that whether you have a Christian worldview, or whether you just have we just got here by chance, or you're agnostic. You might not even have any personal leanings one way or the other. You might not be settled on the matter. Because I think a lot of people really, when we come down to it, I've wrestled with this a lot. Whether people can people really be atheists? And I think I've always leaned towards, no, you can't really be an atheist, because I mean, like, how can we explain all this? We can't explain all this. You have to at least be an agnostic. But then I'm thinking, I think a majority of the time people are just indifferent. You know, I don't think people really are even putting much thought into it, because I have the benefit. For me, I became a Christian later in life, so I had all that time, 20 years of my life of understanding what it was like to not think like a Christian, to not have God as as somebody that I recognize is an audience of my life. I have that perspective, or I have that benefit to look like, see how did I think back then, And I think a lot of people, it's just that they don't think about that one way or the other. It's, you got so many other things in life to worry about, so it's like putting more energy into what could possibly be out there is not always, it's not always top priority, And I don't think I think you don't really you don't put two and two together. You don't really dwell too much on it, whether he's there or not. But I do know that, like, later on when I became a Christian, I completely saw the shift, and I became aware he is here, And I do have to say this: when I did become a Christian, like, I understood, like, I immediately felt tugged back into going to reversing course and going back to, and going back to my regular life. I can't live in this, because I this thought process that he's always there. Every decision I'm making is an ethical decision or a moral decision, whatever you want to call it. And he's either, and you just feel that presence of him, like, and it was tough. And I had to, like, battle through that, I had to, but it wasn't even like a living out of fear. I think I know I'm just kind of giving my testimonial up front. It's just, whenever I did become a Christian, I had to understand that he's there, and I lived out of joy so much. It was like, as I progressed and understood, man, I'm doing a lot of things that the Bible is saying is not the best thing to do. And I started feeling conviction, and I started feeling that, and I had to just battle through that, because it was always tempting to reverse course and jump back into a life without God, and I had to really push through that. I think I had to fix my mind on he's there, and I can live for him, and then finding actually him being there is that presence in the boat of my life, and I was able to find extraordinary peace when actually the storms came, because it's easy to push God to the side when everything's going good. It's easy to not even think about him when things are going wonderful. And I think a lot of life it's just, there's so much busyness. There's so much craziness. He's something we can put on the back burner. We can think about him when we want to. And when we're in our foxhole, that's when actually let's call on the name of the Lord, But I did have to just completely train myself to recognize his presence, dwelling before his face, and understanding he is right there. He's with me, he's, and it's not a scary thing. It's a wonderful thing. But I do know that, like, just in general, the upheaval of everything in our life, we can feel tossed to and fro in so many different directions with whatever we're going through. And whether you're a Christian or not, I mean, this applies to anyone. Are you called to step out in faith in whatever is happening in your life? Is there something that you feel hesitant, but I should be doing that. I can do that, or I can visualize myself doing that. I can visualize myself stepping out and doing that, but it's like, it's that first step, which is the very hardest, that first step is the most hard, and that's where the real faith comes in. And this is from a story in the Bible, the Apostle Peter, who we see as, like, the guy of the group who was the most vocal. When everyone, like, he was the one, the disciples, they got together and they talked about things, but the one who really said things a lot of the times, and was kind of the voice of everyone else and what everyone was thinking, was Peter. And just picture this: Peter's out on a lake with his friends, and it's night. And they see this figure walking towards them on the lake. And they think it's a ghost at first. They think it's a spirit. But then it's revealed that it's actually Jesus himself walking to them. And the one who is bold enough is Peter. It's like, you might be Peter. You might be Peter. You might be the one that, like, I know I can do this. And I just almost need a little push in my heart to actually, a little faith in my heart to just step out, and maybe God grant me that faith, but even that first initiative, that might be you, or it might be God, like kind of like tugging you and like kind of like drawing you. And it does take that effort of you stepping out and actually stepping out and saying, and so what Peter does, he says, Lord, if you can command me to come out, I will come out and I'll step out on the lake. And then Jesus says, come out and step on the lake, on the water. I mean, just picture you're out on a lake. Are you going to have that faith to first of all, ask God, can I step out? Can I do this? Because I think that's part of it. But then actually following through when the Lord says, yes, do it. And he said, he puts it on your mind, do it. And then so Peter steps out and everything's going great. He's walking on water with Jesus. And you might find this. You've stepped out on faith in whatever you're being called to do, and you're walking on water. You're walking on water. Things are like better than you could ever imagined. It's happening. It's happening. But then the stresses and anxieties of life, the acts of God that happen, that we cannot plan for, they'll happen. And you got to, those are the winds and the waves happening all around you. And you have to almost refix your eyes on Jesus. You have to resettle your mind and your heart on God and saying, I'm not the one who is allowing me to stand up on the water in the first place. I'm not the one who's doing this and out of my own power, because natural physics would describe that I would sink. I would immediately drop into the water. I would not be upheld by water, So recognizing that there's a supernatural force that is even allowing you that got you out and stepping on faith, and who is also continually to uphold you. So when those waves come, when those uncertainties come, when those like kind of, man, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I shouldn't have actually stepped out and done something bold like this. This was a bad idea. This was a bad idea. I think I question myself at least 100 times a day. That, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Like, I can't do this. I'm not going to be good enough to be what I want to be. I'm not going to make a difference in this world. Nobody cares about what I say or think. Nobody is everybody's got enough things to worry about. Everybody's got enough things going on in their life to actually have any interest in what I'm doing. And I'm going to be turned down in any way, any which way that I step out. I'm not going to accomplish what I'm wanting to, what I feel like God has put on my heart, and I feel like God has made it clear to me to step out and do. But it's like, now things are going terrible, so it's like, why was he really calling me to do this, or did I just create this myself? And should I go back? Should I reverse course and head back? And what happens in the story with Peter is he says to Jesus, Lord, I'm sinking, help. He actually says, save me, Jesus. So it's like, are you ever in a crisis moment and you're like, maybe you just lost your job. Maybe you're not going to be able to pay your bills. Maybe you've lost someone in your life, and you feel like, I can't do this. God, save me. Somehow save me. I think that is also an act, even though it's a desperate call. God, you're there. I know you're there. And Peter does that. He says that. He has the mind in the midst of the storm, in the craziness of the water, in the winds all over, and his disciples. The disciples are still in the boat. His friends are still in the boat. Do you ever find that? Like, you're out in faith, and you're out on an island. You're on an island. You nobody's there with you. You are doing it by yourself in your own thoughts. You think you're doing it by yourself. You, in the back of your mind, and that unseen force, God is still there. He's always there. He's always there. So even though you might feel on an island, and even though you might feel like do I need to give up? Do I need to give up? No one is with me. No one understands what I am going through. Everybody else that I walk in and encounter, whether it's in work, my family life, friends, a social setting, everyone is putting their happiest face on, and I am just going through hell. No one understands, and you just want to give up, And I think instead of giving up, Peter does the only thing that I think he can do, and he says, Jesus, save me. And then Jesus says, you of little faith, and he reaches down and pulls Peter up. He says, why did you lack that? Why did you have little faith, And you had enough faith, that little bit of faith, to step out and what God has called you to do. He's there. He's going to be that constant, presence that's going to be there. No matter who's off to the offset, who's out of the picture, and you feel like no one else is there. You're alone. God is still there. Even though you don't see him, he's still there. And Peter, he's like, I don't know why I doubted. He can't. Jesus, you're standing right before me. You're the one who's upholding me and carrying me through this. Why would I doubt? It's never how strong your faith is. It's never how strong your faith is. You might have the most amazing, incredible faith whatsoever. It's never how strong your faith is, ever. It's 100% how strong the object that your faith is in. That's what matters. That's all that matters, So it's understanding, because you could hope beyond hope that this, I jump off a building and I'm going to just try to, this floss is that I found is so, I found some floss, and I know it can hold me if I jump off a building, and it can be kind of the rope. No matter how much I want to believe that this floss is going to be able to hold me up, it's probably going to break. Everything natural would say floss is not going to be able to support your weight. It's all about the object that you're putting in. But if you jump off and maybe it's an actual rope, or maybe it's a chain or something, it is that object that you're putting your faith in, that it can actually support my weight. God can support your weight when you have stepped out on faith, and also when you are out in the waters, when you're out there right now, whatever you're going through, God can support your weight. So he's it's not just a blind faith, a blind trust, because really you can believe all you want, but it comes down to what's truth, it's what's truth. So don't put your faith and your hope in just your circumstances and how good things are going and how much I can do to keep things going pretty good, But it's understanding that God is the one who is with you. He's with you, You're driving to work right now. You're in a car. You're listening to this. He's with you, That's why I like to say to people, go with God. I love that. I love that phrase, because I'm a teacher of mine in school would say that whenever we would leave, when we were done for the day, he would say, go with God. Because no matter, if I'm talking, whoever's listening to this right now, when we're done, when this is over, go with God, because he's with you right now. He's the one who's upholding you. So whether you're at the beginning of I need to step on faith, I know God is calling me to this. If you have that desire in your heart in the first place, he's the one that's probably put it there. I would say almost 100%, he's the one who's put it there, And then do it. And do it. Have that. I think we have to just we have to just go, you know, even though everything would tell you different, everything that out there would tell you different, just go and do it. Just do whatever he's calling you to do, whatever you feel in your heart, you need to do. And then when you get out there and the chaos happens, you know, understand he's there and he's the one who's going to support you through the whole thing. So, hey, so we'll leave it at that. I hope you all have an amazing day, and whatever you're going through, know that the Lord is with you, so you can have peace in that. So